Hi everyone, this is Susie from Minnesota and I garden in Zone 4 and it is the end of November and I finally got my old plant room transitioned into my new plant room. This is my garage. It is dark. I'm not used to that. My plant room upstairs is very bright. I have the one light on this side, but it's my plants that need the light, not so much me, so at least they're well taken care of. Filming might be a little bit of an issue, so I'll have to figure something out, but I will figure something out. And I did put old rugs down. I had these in my basement. My sister didn't want them. She has her own rugs. So all of these are just old. I'm doing it because the floor is so cold. And then here, this is just a workout mat that's underneath. And then another rug, and I'll show you. This is not just a plant room, but it's also another little area for like a getaway. And it was not a heated garage, so I had to transition that into a heated garage. I went with a professional. I didn't want to deal with space heaters. They're very unsafe. I'd have to leave it on all the time because I'm in Minnesota and my winters can get to minus 30 degrees Fahrenheit. So that's very cold. And space heaters, like I said, I don't want to leave them running all the time. That is so unsafe, and it's not just me that I have to worry about. I have a dog and I have my family in here, so safety first. It was an investment, but in the long run it will eventually pay for itself. So this heater here, it's a Modine hot dog heater. This is what you see in a lot of greenhouses. This is what he recommended, so I went with it. It is vented outside. Everything is up to code. So I don't have to worry about the air quality. If I were to sell this house, I wouldn't have to worry about anything. This is good to go. Like I said, it was a little spendy, but with how many seeds I start in the spring, I take cuttings, it will eventually work out. But like I said, it's not just for my plants, it's also another little area, and I'll show you. I can control this heater. I'm just going to back up here. Over here, which is so nice. I have it set at, it just ran, and unfortunately I was filming this video and it's very loud, so I had to redo it. But I have it set at 70 degrees, and right now it just ran, so it says 71. I did have it at 65 at one point, and which is fine for like about kind of like the halfway point and up, because it's definitely very warm up here. But down here I was questioning it because my plants they're still looking okay, but just not as good as the other ones. So you can see it is set at 70, just ran, and it is registering 65 down here. Yes, I put it down here. I'm a bit of a nut. It just felt really cold, and my feet are very cold, so I'm thinking it can get a little warm, but I did have it at 65 and it was dropping below 60. That's still not too bad when you're talking about growing plants, but right now it's 50 degrees outside, so I'm a little concerned once we do get into the coldest part of winter how this garage is going to stay heated, and if there's going to be an issue. That's why I put the rug here, for a little bit more of insulation. But we will find out. Definitely new for me. But I'm loving it. And the cuttings are doing really good. I just fertilized all of them. I did all of them, and I just wanted to get them all on the same path. That way I'm not wondering when I fertilize this plant or that plant. And I'll show you how I do that. Yeah, they're looking really good. Some are struggling a little bit. I know, unlike this plectranthus here, I'm having some issues with the leaves falling off still, but that's okay. They still look pretty decent. Coleus is doing pretty good. I will have to start pinching some to make it branch out a little bit more. Some do that on their own. Others just kind of do like this single stem here. So I just have to help it along. I have issues with fungus gnats. Lots of issues with fungus gnats. And I'm also having some issues with spiders. It's like, ugh, I hate spiders. Maybe they'll help with the fungus gnats, but I know when I went to fertilize one of these, there was webbing all over in the soil part of one of these. That was gross. I couldn't find the spider though, so that's still lurking around somewhere. I know when you take cuttings, I say to pinch off the blooms, but right now these are making me so happy. Aren't they pretty? It says Streptocarpus. It's a slow grower. It hasn't gotten much bigger than that. It's definitely bushing out, but not a whole lot of growth. And I know I probably would have more growth if I would pinch these off, but oh, they're just making me so happy. That color. Everything's so brown outside that I just need a little bit, but at some point, and it is still putting out more. So they're definitely happy. My plants right now are getting about between 9 to 10 hours of light. Some might need a little bit more at some point. I will be grouping them together. But so far it's working out. These are crazy. And the Wandering Jew, that is amazing. I mean, some of these are so long that I can take more cuttings, and I might just do that. I know I'm going to give some to my sister because she's wanted some, but they are so easy to propagate. And begonias are new for me this year. They're working out. I forget which varieties I have. I didn't label anything, but some are doing really good. That one's blooming back there that I have to get to and pinch off. I don't let them bloom a whole lot because I want them to put more of their energy into forming really good roots. But sometimes they're just too pretty to get rid of. So you can see that these are wet here. That's from foliar feeding, and I will show you that. This coleus always is so quick to flower. So when my coleus starts flowering, I always pinch that off. The only thing in it, it's pretty tight in there right now, so I gotta let it grow a little bit. I did pinch this begonia, and so far it's not bushing out, so I might have made a little error in doing that. I do have a lot of growth down here, so that was over a month ago that I pinched it. But this one looks really good. Look at that. Whoops. Like I said, the lighting in here is really Yeah, first year for doing begonia cuttings, and they're doing really good for me. Pay no attention to any labels I have on here because all of these containers have been just saved up over the years of going to garden centers. And so all of these I have not bought, and well, I did buy them because I did buy the plants at some point. But I keep them, even if they're cracked, as long as they can hold soil in a plant, I will reuse them until they're absolutely beyond repair or use. Sticky tape for fungus, gnats. It's a bit of an eyesore, but it does really help. I'm going to have to start changing them out. And the lights here, you don't have to have them so close to your plants. I have them up a bit. When you're starting seeds, it's a whole different story. You want them as close as you can to your plants so they don't get leggy. But as far as I find with cuttings, you don't need to do that so far. The other thing I'm going to have to start thinking about getting in here is a fan, just to kind of circulate the air, just to create movement with the plants, just to make them a little bit sturdier. A lot of times I just kind of brush my hands over it. Cutting these I'm not too concerned about just because they're going to be the mother plants. I will be taking new cuttings in February, and then I'll worry about it then. I know this room does not hold a lot of moisture, like the humidity level. That's the one thing that I'm really having an issue with, is the heating part, finding a happy medium, and then the moisture part, because I am having to do a lot more watering than I had to upstairs. So which is fine. More time out here, I'm not going to complain. This room makes me happy. But yeah, I'm also kind of spacing them out a little bit more because the plants are definitely getting a lot bigger. It is kind of cool how you can see if your plants are shaded. Like down here, the leaves, that color, but it's so vibrant up there. It's really cool. But yeah, so this is just to let me know I can get rid of that. I can start over or keep all my information when I fertilize. I have horrible handwriting. This, I don't know if I said this in this video, but I will be getting another grow light kind of set up. And only reason being is because I have a lot of perennial seeds ordered that I'm going to be trying out. Lots of annual seeds. I think I'm going to try some winter sowing too. See how that works out for me. I find it interesting. But yeah, so this stand here I got at Walmart, and I love it. It's metal, heavy duty. I can position the shelves where I want them to go. So I can either make it as tall as I want, or I can shorten it. There is one more shelf for this, but I didn't need it just because I think it would have been not enough room. But depending on what you're growing, maybe you don't need that much room and you can utilize that one. And it's between $80 and $90 just for the shelf. It's a bit spendy, it's an investment, but you know, in the long run, if you're like me and you're really get into propagating and starting your own seeds, it will pay off. Not right away, but eventually. And then these lights here, also gotten from Walmart, and it's just a shop light and 5,000 kelvins LED. And it's the shop light comes with these two bulbs. I did not realize that, so I thought I was just getting the metal holder part, whatever you want to call it. And so I did end up getting light bulbs, which are over here. So when I opened up the box, it was everything included. So I have these over here, which are fine because this is LED. It replaces T8s or T12s, which is what I do need. And it might work in that system, maybe. We'll see. But I do love this whole setup. So the whole cost of this shelf plus the lights runs about $180. Again, that's a little spendy, but still, if you've been following me, you see that I do a lot of seeds and a lot of stuff, so it will eventually work out. But I think I might come out here with one, and I might do another one. Like I said, I'm doing a lot of annuals and perennials. And then I might have one come in here. I'll lose a little room in here, but I can have a smaller table. That will not bother me. I do have this over here that I can work off of too if I need to. I love growing stuff, especially, you know, in Minnesota, just to get a head start on plants. And you really do save a lot of money because a plant like this size at a garden center would cost you $6, at least in my garden center. So that'll save me a lot of money. And plus the seeds, I can decide what I want to grow in seeds. So I foliar feed, and that's just what I do right now. All my plants are taking up water at a different rate than others. I like the top of my soil to dry out a little bit in between waterings, and I kind of do the finger test. Or you can also lift up your plant too, and you can tell the difference between a nicely watered plant, a very dry plant. Huge difference. But the reason why I like it to dry out is because of the fungus gnats. It kind of helps control that. If it's plus the growth of algae, and I think it helps, but who knows. But yeah, so when I foliar feed, this is the type of fertilizer that I use. I'm not sponsored by anyone. It's what I've used for the past few years. It's I want to say $50 or $60 for a gallon, but this lasts a long time. I mean, it really does, because not a lot is needed. And plus, when you foliar feed, less is needed. But it's from Spray and Grow. It kind of reminds me of fish emulsion, but not quite so potent, the smell. I just fertilize in here and I can't smell any of it. I'm sure my beagle can. But yeah, I really do like it. And so what I do is just a milk jug that I recycled. all my jugs I recycle, and I will be recycling more for my winter sowing, and I am going to try that. But I only used a half gallon because a full gallon is way too much, which I made a mistake of, what, a month ago? But so I just did a half gallon. You can even see that's too much because this is what I have left in here, and I still have some in here. And I just have this to fertilize. Everything else has been fertilized. So I might even be able to go with 1/4 of a gallon and even use less. So I use this fertilizer at half strength, which is, it doesn't seem like a lot, but you can see there's some discoloration in here. So if you were using it at the recommended amount for like outside, it's a tablespoon per gallon of water. So I used 1/4 of a tablespoon for half a gallon because, like I said, I use it at half a strength. You can play with that. Maybe some of your plants might need a little bit more. Maybe they're not performing like you want them to. I'm still debating whether I want to keep doing it at a half strength or use it at the full strength. It's a very mild fertilizer. Again, you can use whatever you want as long as you use it according to the directions. Don't over fertilize. You'll be doing more harm than good. So this is what I use for the spray bottle inside. You definitely get a little bit of a hand workout from that, but otherwise outside, this is what I use. And it is battery operated. And when I'm done using it, I take the batteries out. And it holds a gallon of the fertilizing solution. And it's got a strap I can hook over my shoulder. And I just hold a button down and it sprays away. And that gallon of water can do a good portion of my pots outside. And if you've been following my channel, you know how many pots I do. So it lasts a good amount of time. And I do like the results. So foliar feeding is just basically spraying the foliage of your plants and the stems. And I like to do it to where they're dripping. So if that makes sense. And like I said, I do this just because not everything is taking up the same amount of water. At some point, they might. But this fertilizer, I can also just pour it directly onto the soil. So I can use it either or, which we'll see. I have good results both ways. This is where I keep my soil. I keep it covered just because I don't want fungus gnats getting in there. I do have a bucket here. I'm thinking at some point when we get snow, there's no snow right now, which is crazy. I will just fill it up with snow, bring it in here, and let it get to room temperature and water my plants with that. I have lots of rugs just because the floor is really cold, but they're all old rugs. I can make a mess. I don't have to worry about that, which is so neat because upstairs, I was always worried about the carpet and the watering and water spilling. I'm pretty messy. So this makes me happy here. When I do foliar feed, I use distilled water, and that's the only time I use distilled water, just because I have hard water and I don't want any buildup on the leaves, and which will happen over a period of time, so that's why I use the distilled. Other than that, if I was just pouring it right onto the soil, I just use tap water, which I have tap water in all of these. I need to fill that one. I like to do that just so it gets to room temperature. Otherwise, my tap water is really cold. This is everything. I save everything. These are all the domes, humidity domes for starting seeds, trays. Down here, all kinds of saved pots. And then in these brown bags, I had dug up all of my caladiums that I had planted. When did I dig them up? Probably September. And I just kept them really easy with White Queen, Carolyn Wharton, and Miss Muffet. So yes, I have all of my caladiums in here. We will see how they store for me. I've never been successful yet, but fingers crossed. They're in the dark, they're nice and dry, and it is a little bit cooler down here, so it might work out. And I have more pots over here. Again, these are just all containers that I've gotten from garden centers years after year of just saving them. And more trays. And then this is, can't wait because this is nice and deep. And I'm thinking this is where I'm going to start my sweet peas. Probably a little loud on film. But yeah, I can't wait. And then more. So I bottom water all my plants. You don't have to, it's just what I do. So this is for watering, and I just put my plants in here. I fill it up with water as much as what I can without it overflowing. And then I find that the more you fill it, the faster that they take up the water, and it doesn't take as long. Otherwise it could take a little bit, but I'm finding 5 minutes is usually a good amount of time. And you know too, give them a lift and they'll definitely feel a little heftier. I transfer them here, let them drip for a little bit, and then I put them back in their little home. Friends and family give me lots of beagle stuff, so I have a beagle, so that's why I love this little bobblehead. He's so cute. This is Diamond Frost Euphorbia. I brought this in. Isn't it looking wonderful? And look at that. So very happy. Hardly have to water this. It's blooming like crazy. Yeah, and this is where I have the other little light, and it's actually working out pretty good here. This poor plant is Tahitian Bridal Veil. I didn't water it for over a month. But I mean, it's still hanging in there. I'm going to give it a haircut and hopefully it bounces back. My sister had a spider plant here that had, what, a baby or a pup or whatever you want to call it. So I'm just seeing if I can get it to grow some roots down there. And that was just Plectranthus that I pinched. It was getting so long. I'm like, hey, might as well just start another cutting. It looks sad. It really does. I'll just put it back there for now. It was only a few days ago, so it usually takes about 2 weeks before my cuttings look okay. I also have a fridge in my garage, which will be nice when I'm starting my seeds, because sometimes seeds need a chill period. Not all, but some. And then yeah, I control my heater over here. And then over here, I am still going through stuff. I still have to, this is a garage, so this is where I kept everything. Lots of shelving. There's a futon that they didn't know what to do with. So I'm just having this as just kind of another little living space, or just so we can get out of each other's hair for a little bit, and a workout area, because all of this was in my basement and I did lose that, and I didn't want to lose my workout area. My sister and I, we hauled this up from the basement on our own without taking it apart. Holy cow. Oh, all I can say is I'm glad. That was probably the hardest piece out of everything. It was just me and her moving everything. That was crazy. But yeah, so that's this little area. So like I said, it's not just a plant room. It's also another little living area. And I'm thinking what I also will do is just in the summer when all my plants are out, I'm going to take everything out, paint it, make it look nice and fresh. Maybe put a curtain over that. That's got a lot of spider webs in the window. I'm just not keen on spiders. I'm trying to get my sister to clean it out. I'm just, ugh. But yeah, I was thinking about putting a curtain right up here. That way it can just kind of block off both areas. So if I'm in here, someone else can be over here. So very excited about my new little area. So if you have any questions, please leave it in the comments below and I will get back to you, and hopefully you enjoyed this little plant room update, and bye for now.